Let's move on to this Friday's episode. We are going to be doing an In Memoriam for Austin Pevo. If you listened to last week's update episode, you know that his remains were found. They were found in last September, and they were finally identified earlier this month. 3 men are in custody. I don't have their names written down here, but I do mention them during the episode. 3 men that worked with Austin, and one of them in particular stabbed him to death and then disposed of his remains on the Fort Hall Reservation. I do not know how Austin's remains were found. I do not know what led this is on federal land. The FBI was involved. I do not know what led the FBI to charge these 3 men with murder. I know what the charges are, but I don't know the evidence that ended up leading to them, being charged and taken into custody. But these are 3 men that Austin worked with, and one of them was his boss, Blandon Kobe. Something happened when Austin went into that house that morning after his mother dropped them off. What that is, I don't know if we're ever going to know. Now, you should know some trials are already coming up, which is weird to me since Carlos Rodriguez for Zoe Campos's murder has been in custody for a year and a half. I don't know when that's going to go to trial, but here we have Austin Pevo's murder. The guys just were taken into custody earlier this year, and already 2 of them are going to be going to trial in June. The third one, there's no trial date yet for him. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why the DNA testing took so long. These are still answers I don't have. I've talked to Susan a few times. She doesn't have those answers either. But we will be replaying the episode, at least my introduction, the summary of the case, the interview from back last summer, June of 2019, when we covered Austin's disappearance. But there will be a new summation from me, just recorded a couple days ago, regarding Austin's disappearance and his murder, and how I look back at it now, comparing what the interview was, to now what we know now. Now, of course, we don't yet know everything, but we know more than we did, and so I comment on that and kind of just looking back at how we analyzed the information at the time. Now, probably one of the most perplexing parts, and it's not something we have yet answers to, if you remember, Austin claimed that he told his mother that this guy Clyde pulled a knife on him the night before he disappeared. Well, it seems that the way Austin disappeared the next day and how he was murdered was also by a knife. But Clyde has not been charged with anything. So what are the odds that Austin is threatened with a knife the night before, and then the very next day he's knifed to death by somebody totally different? I don't know. I don't know. I hope we find out. I hope Susan eventually finds out and she can pass that along to me. But that's just, it's like I said, I've already used the word perplexing. Something was going on there that it seems we still don't know what that was. But that will be this Friday. We're going to do an In Memoriam for Austin Pevo. Once again, the criteria for doing an In Memoriam is if the remains have been found and the case, either somebody's been charged with the disappearance with the murder, like in this case, or Zoe Campos's, or remains are found and a coroner decides, medical examiner decides that the person died, by accident or by suicide or, natural causes or exposure, like in the case of Crystal Morrison. So that's what will be this Friday, In Memoriam for Austin Pevo. Vegas Girl says, I was watching an episode of Crime Daily. This lady went to her ex-boyfriend's apartment building. She was seen in the parking garage, never found her body. I've seen that case of it. It's fairly recently. Vegas girl, I can't remember the disappearance, the woman's name, but yes, I'm familiar with that. I don't have enough information on it to comment. Carrie, tribal courts don't run as slow as the rest of ours. This is one difference. But I don't think this is a tribal court, Carrie. I don't think so. I don't think it's a tribal court. I will have to check into that, but it's a court in Pocatello. So I don't think it's a tribal court, but just either way, it seems pretty fast to me. Vegas, this was like 2 years ago. She's never been found. Her car was in the spot she parked. It was never found. I don't know what that is, Vegas girl. Sorry. Indy, great live show this evening. Nice to have this kind of interaction with everyone. Yeah, I think that's about, I think we've covered all we need to cover tonight, Indy. I think that's what you're saying, and I agree with you. Hour and 45 minutes. This time goes so fast. I don't even know how to explain to you how fast it goes. But that's all I have for tonight. Covered a lot of stuff, though. Just wanted to see how everybody's doing. It's been beautiful here in Clearwater. No poll this week. Talked about the update episode. Talked about what I wrote for the Patreon blog. Once again, patreon.com/Unfound podcast. I don't know why sometimes I have the problem saying the word Patreon. I don't know. Talked about the remains found near Salineville, Ohio. Told you how I spoke to Mary Lyle. Also spoke to Joyce Rivituzzo today. Talked about how I'm going to be on the Lord and Arts YouTube channel on a game show. Talked about the interview next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Facebook Live show with Dr. Telesco. Talked about some UFOs. Took some questions for all of you. And previewed this Friday's episode. So there you go. Thank you all for joining in tonight. And thank you for the questions. Thank you for making the time, an hour and 45 minutes of it. And you will hear me Friday. And yes, there will be a think tank on Sunday. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.